Hey, this is Pete, or Kenshin1913.
And Rob.
And Rob.
Or Rob.
And this is another Game of Thrones review. This time we're reviewing Episode 7, You Win or You Die. So let's go through the summary of the episode. So, as you remember in last episode, Ned kind of decreed that the Lannisters are bad. And he wants the head of the house, Tywin Lannister, to come to King's Landing. So we start in the Lannister camp where Tywin is right now.
Yeah.
And Tywin, he's the only new character of the episode.
Our first look at Tywin.
Yeah. And,
much talked about, finally seen.
And he's played by Charles Dance. He is he's one of the characters actually they were talking about that they knew they wanted this guy as the head of, or as like Ned Stark, they wanted Sean Bean, Tyrion Lannister, they wanted as Peter Dinklage, and Charles Dance they wanted as Tywin Lannister, and they got all three of them, so they're pretty happy about that. But yeah, so Tywin Lannister, he's kind of talking with Jaime about like the House Lannister. He's like, you know, after you're dead and after your sister's dead and their kids are dead, the only thing that will remain is the house name, and he's like, you gotta friggin' protect this house. Now this, I think,
going all under.
Yeah,
we must protect this house.
Yeah,
he's doing it hard.
Yeah, so
and also he was skinning a fucking deer.
Yeah, this episode was actually fairly controversial in the essence of this whole deer thing that he was skinning, and it's seen later.
I'm sure PETA hated it.
Yeah, PETA probably hated the hell out of it.
It was probably fake.
I don't know. They had a real fake deer. You remember in the beginning of the season when they found the direwolves? They had a real fake deer there.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Real fake deer. What is a real fake deer?
What is a real fake deer? It's
a fake deer.
No, it's a real deer that was dead, and they used it.
So why did you say it's a real fake deer?
It was a real. I meant real dead deer.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Now we're clearing things up. That's
real dead deer. They used a real dead deer in the first episode.
Hey, if you find a dead deer, you may as well use it.
Yeah, they killed a deer, or some hunter guy killed a deer, and they're like, "Hey, can we have it?" And
hey, if you end up eating it, who gives a shit?
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. So then we go to Cersei and Ned in the King's Landing. Ned's kind of telling her
garden area.
Yep. And Ned is kind of telling her, "Hey, I know you're secret.
I kind of know you're a pervert.
Mm-hmm. You sick bitch.
Let your brother jizz inside you.
3 times.
Babies. At least 3 times.
At least 3 times.
3 times it made babies. Probably a few million times it didn't.
Once, twice, 3 times a lady. You know what I mean?
Oh, once, twice, 3 times your sister's pregnant.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think that's what
Ned kind of warns her.
Yeah, he told her to get the fuck out, basically.
Get out. You leave.
I know you guys are fucking creepy. Leave. Bail.
I'm going to tell Robert, and you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And then she's like, what about me? I'll get you in trouble. You know, you don't know a woman's wrath.
Oh, yeah, she kind of throws it back in his face.
Yeah, so they have like a little tussle, and then that's about it with that scene. So then we go to Littlefinger, who's in his whorehouse, and he's training some whores.
Yeah.
Raj
from the north.
Yeah. And he's training them how to be whores, and he's kind of
how to be good whores. And anybody can be a dumb whore.
Yeah,
he's trying to make them into quality whores.
Mm-hmm. And so he's trying, and while these whores are having sex with each other, simulated sex. I'm sorry, it looked real to me. Anyways, while they're banging each other, sort of, kind of, he kind of talks about his history a little bit and how he was in love with Caitlyn and all this, and how he was the little hero trying to beat up the big bad, because Caitlyn was engaged to Ned's bro, but Ned's bro died, and they had like a fight, and then Littlefinger lost, and so he was kind of talking about how like he can't win in that way. He's got to think of another way to win.
I'm gonna get beat up, so I might as well outsmart everybody.
Yeah. That's what he's saying, so that's kind of like what he was going with.
Which is nice, because you got to know your strengths. Got to play to them, right?
Yeah, you do. And this was probably the most controversial scene in the episode, because it was. Some people thought it was just going on a little too long.
It was a bit long. I'll give him that. It went on a little long.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, as a dude, I don't really mind.
I understand. I don't either. I don't
maybe
mind watching 2 beautiful women go at each other.
Yeah. Maybe the ladies do mind, but I don't know. Anyways, then we go to Theon in Winterfell and Osha, and she is kind of doing a little, servant
chores thing, yeah.
because she's a servant now, and that's what she does. So Theon's kind of telling her about the Iron Islands and how it goes over there.
How to talk to people properly.
And so he's trying to touch Osha, and Maester Luwin comes in.
Yeah, he's kind of a creep, Theon.
Yeah, he is.
Theon's a bit creepy. He likes to get handsy with the ladies.
Yeah, he does. And so,
if sexual harassment existed in Westeros, he would definitely be like the poster child.
Oh yeah. He would definitely. He would definitely be brought to HR quite a bit.
Like every other weekend. Yeah.
And you can't be harassing the help. You know what?
You can't be sneaking up behind like kitchen wenches and just grabbing their teats.
Yeah, this is your third strike here.
Yeah. We're gonna have to ask you to leave.
Yeah. So Maester Luwin comes in, he saves the day, he says, "Get out of here, Theon. Yeah. Someone's calling you," or whatever that
pretty much makes him feel like a creep. Yeah. And then leaves.
And then Maester Luwin's like, or Osha's kind of like, "Oh yeah, we tried to get us south because of the White Walkers," and he's like, "I don't believe in White Walkers, but you know what? They keep looming around. I'm afraid of them.
I'm afraid of everything." So
yeah. So we hit the wall with Jon and Sam. They're looking out, and Jon sees a lone horse. So as the horse is running back to the wall, they go down and they see the horse, and Jon's like, "That's Benjen, his uncle's horse." And
last scene going above the wall to search for
White Walkers and wildlings and all that.
Yeah, for whatever he's gonna find.
Yeah,
but for shenanigans.
So what ends up happening is Benjen's horse comes back. And he's like, "Man, maybe he's not around because his horse is dead." Mm-hmm. So we head to King's Landing, where Renly comes out and sees Ned, and he kind of says, Robert, that hurt." So we go to the scene where Robert is on his deathbed because he got gutted by a boar.
A fucking boar to the gut.
Yeah. And
I wonder if Vegas had those odds on Robert.
I don't know.
But I think heart attack had to be high up on the list.
Heart attack high on the list.
Cirrhosis, definitely.
Yeah, cirrhosis, definitely.
Just complete fucking liver failure.
Mm-hmm. I can see
that. But boar, it's a wild card. It's a dark horse victory.
Yeah. You would have thought. The boar guts him, and Robert kind of has Ned write this thing about who's going to take the throne after he dies. He wants his Joffrey to take the throne. And Ned
wants Ned to kind of rule until he becomes old enough.
Yeah, so Ned, instead of writing Joffrey, he writes his next
rightful heir.
His rightful heir, which is one of the things in the book where he's kind of like thinking it, and he just does it. But in here you kind of have to show it because it's kind of important. So he says, and then Robert kind of like has this like kind of regretful moment about trying to kill Dany, and he's like, "Call it off if you can. You know what? You were right. I don't know why I didn't listen to you." And so Ned, has a little talk with him, and then he leaves. And as they're outside, they're explaining, what was going on. And Selmy and Varys are talking, and they're talking with Ned, and they're like, "Oh, he drank too much." And then what did Ned say? No man can save himself or save them from himself, or Robert couldn't save himself.
Selmy was feeling guilty.
Yeah, because I should have.
Yeah, and Ned kind of lets him know, nobody can protect Robert from himself.
Yeah, true.
Because he was in excess of everything.
Yeah,
too much drink, too much food, too much fighting, too much fucking.
Mm-hmm. The 3 Fs or something.
I mean, it's heaven until you die at 40.
So Varys kind of says, "Oh, I hope that the wine steward Lancel Lannister. Oh, I hope he doesn't feel too bad about what was going on. I'm glad he kept him, not." Thirsty.
Well parched.
Yeah, or what? Yeah.
He kind of threw out the tidbit that maybe he was pushing the wine on Robert.
Mm-hmm.
And all 3 of the men there kind of have their own little think about it.
I wonder. So we head to Dothrak, and I can never say it right.
Never.
So we go there, and Drogo and Dany are friggin' tying each other's ponytails or whatever. And Drogo, party. Yeah, and Drogo doesn't. He's just talking about how he doesn't give a shit about going to Westeros because
he does not care. He cares less.
Yeah, the stallion that's gonna mount the world can mount the world on this one side.
I guess he's thinking, if I'm in Hawaii, why the fuck do I want to go to LA? Like, why should I go to the mainland when I've got paradise right here?
Yeah, exactly.
It's paradise,
So, then after that, Dany is walking through the marketplace, and Jorah Mormont, you actually find out that he's the spy. If you didn't know already, he's the spy.
They mention it in
in the
previous
last episode.
Yeah.
And he's the spy, and he kind of gets a thing from a little kid saying, you're free to go home.
Because they're going to kill Daenerys.
Yeah, they're going to kill Daenerys.
And as soon as they do, he gets to go home and he'll get a pardon.
Exactly.
For helping them kill Dany.
He'll be all set.
Yeah.
So Dany's at the market, and she meets a wine vendor who's trying really hard to give her wine. And Mormont's
special wine.
And Mormont's kind of watching from the distance. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, oh, are you the Khaleesi? I'll give you the special wine here. And so Mormont comes out of nowhere, and he's like, yeah, you taste the wine first.
Yeah, he kind of smells a rat.
Yeah.
And throws it back on the guy. And
so the wine vendor ends up being an assassin. Mm-hmm. And, they kind of stop him.
Yeah. And they capture him.
Yeah, and they capture him.
With nice whip work.
Yeah, with some nice whip work by whatever the hell that other guy's name was.
It begins with an R.
Yeah, Rahago or something like that. Anyways, after that, we head back to the Wall, where the graduating class of Westeros.
Year 9, 7, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the years either. But the Jon and his are actually graduating from the Night's Watch, and
they're becoming men.
They're becoming men in the Night's Watch, and in the Night's Watch, there's 3 different crews you can go to.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, there's the Rangers, which are kind of like what Benjen was.
They go out and they search and they hunt and they inspect the shenanigans, all the stuff
going on, and then there's the stewards.
They kind of take care of everything. Mm-hmm. They assist officers, and they pretty much keep the place running.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then there's finally the builders.
Who build shit. Build. When you have a 700-foot wall, sometimes it needs repairs.
Yeah, and so that's what they did. Yeah. So at the end of their little ceremony, the commander, he's giving out the different positions for all the new recruits, and he names Jon, who he thought that he was going to be a ranger. He ends up becoming a steward, and he's pretty ticked off about that.
It's a kick in the bullocks for Jon.
Yeah, so...
He doesn't like that one bit.
No, he doesn't. So, after Maester Aemon explains to him that he's going to be the Lord Commander's personal steward, Sam is like, man, you know what they're doing with you? Because Jon's pissed. He doesn't care. He's like, shit.
He's acting a little bit like a bitch.
Yeah, and he's like,
he's being a bitch.
And he's like, one of my favorite lines from the show, they're grooming you for command. Don't you see what they're doing? They're grooming you for command. You're going to be taking his letters and doing this and doing that. So Sam kind of tells him, that this isn't like a bad thing that's happening to you, that you're going to be a steward. You're actually going to be learning the innermost secrets of the Night's Watch and how to learn how to lead the people or lead the Rangers and everything, and so that kind of...
So it's a plus.
Yeah, so that is a plus. So we head back to King's Landing, and Ned is walking through the halls, being... Yeah, and he meets Renly.
And Renly's got a proposition for him.
Renly does have a proposition for him. He tells him that, I've got, 50 men or 100 men? He's like, let's take the kids. Let's seize them in the middle of the night and then claim you king, or claim you the regent.
King regent, yeah.
And Ned's like, no, it's going to be Stannis.
Yeah, that's
Stannis is their bro. Their older brother. And he's like, no, it's going to go to Stannis. And then
Renly says, well, Stannis will make a pretty crappy king.
Yeah, and he's like, I'll be king. What about if I'm king? And then Ned's like, I will not have bloodshed as Robert's dying or whatever. And so...
Ned declines the offer.
Yeah.
Politely.
And so Ned's like, nah, I'm not going to do it. And, he's just, I don't know, that was probably a bad move, but let's continue.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been one of the mistakes.
Yeah, so Ned wants Stannis to be king. And then Ned is in the Tower of the Hand. He summons Littlefinger. He tells them that he wants his help. And how does he want his help? He wants him to get the gold cloaks.
Which are the guard of the city.
Yeah, because...
He pretty much wants the police force behind him.
Yeah, because something's gonna happen, and he's pretty sure, Cersei's gonna resist when he tries to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So, and then Littlefinger kind of tells him, why don't you take power? You can be the regent, make peace with the Lannisters.
Seems like everybody except for Ned had a plan.
Yeah, he's like, you can take power, and then if you don't like, what the hell's his name, Joffrey, you can always get rid of him and bring in another guy, maybe Stannis or something. I don't know.
Implying child murder.
Yeah.
Like Littlefinger. He's always got a plan.
He does. He does always have a plan. So after that, we go back to the Night's Watch, where Jon and Sam have decided to take their oath at the old gods because everyone else is taking it at the new gods. Sam and Jon end up taking it at the what's the name?
It's called a weirwood.
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 And that is like it's like a tree that's
one of those,
it's got like a face.
It's a white bark tree that has a face carved into it by the old and either the children of the forest they called them.
And it looks like it's crying
because the sap is
red.
Also red, so it looks like it's crying blood. So it's extra creepy.
Yeah. So they're saying their vows, which are very cool. And
the Night's Watch vow is pretty fucking neat.
And after that, they get up and they're hugging each other like, congratulations,
we're in!
You're now men in the Night's Watch. Yeah. And Ghost comes back, and he comes back with a severed hand. How cool is that, huh?
There you go, there's a hand.
Severed hand, and they're like, where the hell did that come from? And then finally...
Our final scene?
No, second to last scene.
Nice.
Drogo, alright, he comes home from hearing about his wife being almost being assassinated.
Attempt, yeah.
And he goes ballistic in
one of the best way possible.
Yeah, and one of the best ways possible is where he's like, I'm going, I can't even do it justice by pretending to scream in English.
He says talk in a foreign language that makes me want to murder babies.
Yeah.
He just goes all out, and it's
screaming about.
It's probably the best thing Jason Momoa gets to do
in the show
up to so far. Yeah, definitely, so far, maybe his entire run of the show.
Yeah, it was just amazing.
It's fucking terrific. He just gets to go nuts, and he declares that they will in fact cross the black salt sea. They call it, they call it, and go fucking beat up Westeros,
and just fucking kill everyone, rape the children. Take their wives
rape
as slaves.
Women,
rape
children as slaves.
Yeah. It's
slightly less creepy that way.
Yeah. And it's just
but it is pretty awesome.
Just friggin' amazing. Just fucking everyone's cheering at the end of the thing. They're just going crazy. He
riles up those horse riders pretty good.
Yeah, he fucking rallies the troops big time. So, to the final scene, Robert is dead. The bells are ringing in the background. Kind of like when the Pope dies. They just ring the bells. And Renly, they find out that Renly left.
He bailed in the middle of the night.
And Joffrey, Ned goes into the throne room, and Joffrey is king, and Cersei is queen regent. All right, so Ned, he's like, okay, all right, the gold cloaks are on my side.
Yeah, he's got Littlefinger and those guys behind him.
Yeah,
literally at his back.
Yeah, I got this letter here. All right, this letter says Robert says that I'm going to be the regent until proper heir comes by. Mm-hmm. So he shows it to Barristan and Selmy, and Selmy looks at you. Barristan and Selmy. And Selmy, he's like, yeah, this is the king's letter. So Cersei's like, let me see it. And he gives it to you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when your brother ripped up that birthday card. Because she just takes it,
and she looks at it, and then she
just rips it.
Calmly rips it into pieces and tosses it and goes, I don't give two shits.
Yeah, she's like, what do you think? And she's like, you bend the knee to my son being king. And he's like, I'm not going to do that. Nope. So what he ends up doing is like he tells everyone that, we're gonna capture you guys, and that's it. And what ends up happening is
kind of gets
double crossed a bit. The gold cloaks, they cut
down what few men
the Starks had left, kills them all basically.
And Littlefinger himself put the knife to Ned's throat.
And betrays Ned in a way that Ned did not think he could be betrayed.
No,
almost anally. Almost.
Like he just started to trust Littlefinger, and then he does that.
And then that's it. And that's how the episode ends, all right?
So, it ended with a knife to fucking Sean Bean's throat.
Yeah, so and that's one of the best ways to end the episode because you're like,
all right, what the heck's gonna happen next?
I want to what? No, 5 more minutes. Come on.
They don't give you that 5 minutes.
They don't give you that 5 minutes. So, that's basically the summary. So, Rob, what were your likes or dislikes about this episode? I don't think there was a single dislike in this episode.
If you really want to nitpick, you can argue the lesbian scene is is weirdly
long. I guess you could. The scene where he's cutting up the animal my mom, I remember when we were watching, she's like, does he really have to be doing this? Do they really have to be doing it? And I'm like, nah,
that serves a bigger purpose to me because it's kind of showing that Tywin... It's symbolic of Tywin. He's literally carving apart this beast the way he would probably like to carve up the Seven Kingdoms and have Lannister rule them himself.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I think that's that's symbolic. That's there for a reason.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
The whereas the whorehouse scene, I can see being a little more gratuitous.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can cut that scene in half and probably still get said what you want to say about Littlefinger.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand what people are saying when they complain about it, but I think it's splitting hairs if you're complaining about the episode.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Almost everything else is top fucking notch.
Yeah, just stuff,
terrific.
Just great. Like this is like, what is it, like 3/4 of the way through the book, and it's
their best episode to date, I think.
Yeah, it's just fast paced. Stuff is happening. This is all really important, and it's just
stuff that we've slowly come into was just boom, all of a sudden in the open. It's really good.
Just great, and like the way that they end Dany's thing with Drogo just getting crazy pissed. And then Robert dying.
It seems like every storyline ended on a good little.
Yeah, on a little.
It was the guys at the wall found a fucking severed hand.
Like you didn't see anything from Tyrion this episode. You didn't really see much from.
We didn't see Caitlyn and Tyrion in that group.
No,
that's who we really don't see.
But that's all right.
That's about it though.
Yeah, everything else.
We see everybody else. Yeah. Oh, we never see like Bran or Robb.
Yeah, that's another.
The only scene at Winterfell is between Creepy Theon.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So new characters. There's really only one. Tywin Lannister. Likes or disliked. I really like him.
When I read the book and I pictured Tywin Lannister, I pictured Bill Nighy.
Yeah.
Play a good Tywin Lannister.
Just now when I read it, I picture.
I do too because he totally works.
Yeah, he's
terrific.
Really great.
He's outstanding.
I don't really have any dislikes about him other than I wish he was in it a little more. But he will be. He will be.
Yeah, he'll be a character next season.
So is this episode staying true to the book? Differences between the book and the show? I'm trying to think. I would have to say, I believe you mentioned it before. That whole scene with Littlefinger. Obviously, Littlefinger isn't a point of view character, so you really don't know what's going on with his head. That's why I like the show a little. Well, I wouldn't say more than the books because I really like the books.
It's how you can appreciate it.
Yeah, because it's like this is the stuff that's probably happening that you can't like you'll never know because he's not a point of view character ever. Right. So it's like
we hear all this stuff through a third person.
Yeah, you don't know what he's
so getting to hear certain things from certain characters' mouths is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to view certain things that we view in the off page to say as opposed to off screen.
Yeah.
They show on screen, which is nice.
And
feels like you're not getting gypped that way.
No, you're not. And I like it. I like it a lot. I'm trying to think if there's anything off the top of my head from the book. I don't really think so. I think so. Again,
they're being really close.
They're being very true to the book.
You're doing as good as you can when you're translating it.
Yeah.
Any book is you're gonna have to cut shit.
Yeah. And
there's never been a literal interpretation. And as close as you get, and then people get mad anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Watchmen book comes to mind.
Yeah.
The Watchmen comic book was translated almost page for page. And
except people said for the
thing at the end.
The split thing, yeah.
Everybody, that's a thing. Some people hate that.
Mm-hmm.
That it was too much like the book. They didn't just interpret it
for
different medium. So you're never going to win. Somebody's always going to bitch about something.
Here's one other thing that I was going to mention about the show that's probably different than the book is like in the show, you can't have people's internal thoughts. Right. Going on, that's what their faces.
People aren't going to monologue.
That's what their faces and looks are for.
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of scenes where people had dreams or stuff like that they won't be able to kind of show because it's just I may have finished this thought.
I don't want to watch 40 people's dreams.
Yeah, or think there's going to be a lot of dreams later on. It's they do have significance, but maybe they'll end up showing it in a way.
If it's important enough, it'll be like Bran.
Yeah.
And he's his three-eyed crow dream.
But someone was mentioning Ned's dream in the last episode when he got cut up, and it was I was just explaining that it's not that they don't want to show it. I'm sure they would love to show all that backstory.
Shown.
Yeah, and it was about Ned's sister or whatever. But all right, so let's continue. Best line, best kill.
Let's do best kill first. Yeah, it's a little easier.
Best kill. Go ahead, Rob. No, I think I'll start. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say the king. The king's dead.
He's always a big deal.
He's a big king.
You don't really get to see it.
Yeah, you don't really see
that would have been a very expensive shot to try to do with an animal.
Yeah, him get gored by a boar, and he just kind of dies like a pussy. It's really a shame to me.
It's a little anticlimactic for the character that Robert was.
Yeah, because he was such a warrior and he was such a fucking hell of a soldier, and he just fucking I got killed by a boar.
I'm gonna say my favorite death is the deer in the beginning that Tywin's got up.
And that's a real
I'm sure
dead
he
deer.
fought some people. But he served a purpose. I'm sure that hide was used for a tent or a coat or something.
Coat or fucking
whatever.
Cape or whatever. Just some more deaths, because there wasn't many in this episode. The Stark guys.
Yeah.
All of them. They all died.
Last of Ned's guys he brought down.
Yeah.
Pretty much dead.
The one guy who's like, Ned gave the thing, he's like, bring this to Stannis, no one else. He probably died too.
Eventually.
Yeah. So, best line. I wrote
best
down 4.
Best line is fucking hard.
I wrote down 4. All right. I'm just going to read them off. We can decide which one's the best. Anyways, you got the classic one. When you play the Game of Thrones, you win, you die.
Obviously, the title
There's no
of the
middle
show
ground
in the first book.
Yeah. Easily.
That's a pretty great line. It seriously gets delivered, and it's really good.
It is really good. It is really good. And then you got the opening, or in the beginning, lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of the sheep by Tywin Lannister. Kind of shows you how above he is. He thinks.
How he thinks.
Yeah, how he thinks.
I liked that line a lot.
Yeah, I liked that.
I liked it a lot. That was my 2 favorite of the show, of the episode, probably.
Another line by Sam. Basically, he was talking about taking his
vows in front of
the old gods, and he's like, the 7, which are the new gods, the 7 have never answered my prayers. Perhaps the old gods will. That's
one of my favorite lines in the entire series.
And you know why I like that line too? Now that I'm thinking about it, is because at this point in the game, Sam has constantly showed that he's a coward. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's not very strong. He's not very fast. He's not, all these things.
Good
but he is smart. He is a smart kid.
Yes.
And this is kind of like one of his first courage kind of things. Like I'm going to stand up. Because
he has to step behind the wall.
Yeah. I'm going to stand up with my friend, John, and do this. Even though I could do it in the safety of the watch right here.
Right.
I'm going to go out with my friend. And
so it is nice.
So yeah, and
I think it shows a little bit about Sam, too. His, for lack of a better word, his patheticness that his life has been up to now.
Mm-hmm.
You believe Sam wants to be brave.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be a hero. And
he just can't do it.
Right. Even something as simple as taking on different gods might help him, and he's willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like about it, too.
And then the last line of the show by Littlefinger, as he has the knife right up in Ned's gullet.
Mm-hmm.
I did warn you not to trust me. And I just love that line. And then you end the show with that line.
Yeah.
You got me for next week. That's for damn sure. Yeah.
We'll be DVRing that one. We're watching that one.
Oh, we're watching the hell out of that one. Yeah. So that's basically it for this episode. Again, I just think this was a fucking hell of an episode.
Probably the best episode so far.
Yeah, just a lot of really
we'll see if it holds up. There's only 3 left.
Yeah, there's only 3 left.
2.
Oh,
episode 7 or 8?
No, 7.
So you have 3 left. See if they'll top it.
3 left. So, Rob, any final words for anything about the show or anything in general?
Anything in general?
Yeah, I'll give you that, Stan. I remember you said you liked Oreos one time. That was pretty fun.
I do like Oreos. Double stuff. Why do they make regular Oreos anymore?
I don't even know why they make regular Oreos.
Just make double stuff. Because who buys regular Oreos?
I don't know why you would.
I have no idea. It's useless. Get on that Nabisco.
Yeah. So this has been Pete, or Kench1913, and
Rob, or I can't remember my YouTube name.
Rob. Actually, that is your YouTube name. I can't remember my YouTube name. And this has been another.
It's not. I wish it was. That's a good YouTube
Maybe
name.
we should look that up. This has been another Game of Thrones review. Bye-bye.
Don't kiss your sister. Ugh.